the Air Force because he did the. You haven't seen Top Gun.
I have not.
There's a scene where Tom Cruise flies over a watchtower, and it's like a bit too close to call. He actually did that and inspired that scene. Unfortunately, he died in a plane stunt accident whilst making Flight of the Phoenix in 1965. Then you have John Eric Hexum. Any idea who that is?
No.
Me neither, honestly. he was actually apparently a TV star in the very early 80s. Much like Brandon Lee, there was a gun shot where, very similar, a bit of shrapnel was in the barrel and it shot him in the head.
Blimey.
That was in 1984's Cover-Up. So yes, there's a few tragic deaths, but these are just tragic events, like I've said. I wouldn't say that they're actually cursed. These things happen, unfortunately. I mean, things like Waterworld, the Kevin Costner film. So that film went through such horrendous incidents. Nobody died, but it was hit by a hurricane 3 times. People nearly were killed. And basically everybody had this terrible time. It went over budget, sets were destroyed. Could that have been cursed?
But the thing, my question about cursed films is, who the heck cursed them?
Yeah, exactly. There's so I'm going to kind of quote from Kev here, not a direct quote, but he was saying that because there's curses on The Exorcist, The Omen, and Poltergeist.
Sure.
Now, it's kind of believed that if you mess with the devil or say, he's a prankster, the devil will come and do something. I mean, this is all Catholicism and like religious beliefs.
Sure.
In my mind, who would want to curse Waterworld? Apart from everybody who's seen it.
Which is not me.
You haven't seen Waterworld?
No.
Oh my days. Yeah, you're not missing much. But yeah, so I mean, a good segue, because I will now talk about The Exorcist. So, The Exorcist, again, we have covered this a lot on episode 20 and 21. But there are apparently 9 deaths associated with The Exorcist.
Yes.
Now, these range from the actor Jack McGowan dying. He was Burt Dennings.
Yes.
Who died, I believe that was a heart attack. I think that was.
Yeah.
That was shortly after filming. Then Valiskia Malaros, who played Father Karras' mother, who was very elderly. She died shortly before the film's release. But at the same time, there were other oddities. Like, for instance, there was a security guard. A 30-year-old security guard was on set at night, dropped dead.
Wow.
So the cause of death was, I think it was pancreatic cancer.
Wow.
That was very aggressive. A lot of people said that it was a heart attack. It wasn't. It was pancreatic cancer that he didn't even know that he had.
Amazing.
But then again, there were things like there were accidents on set. But again, bear in mind that The Exorcist started filming in 1971. They had moments off where they had to get approval for stuff like that, but it wrapped up filming in 1972. So that was a year-long production.
Yeah.
It spent a long time being edited and music getting right as well. But yes, so for that year, of course, there's going to be deaths.
Absolutely.
You're working on a film that has perhaps over 200 crew on it. Things are going to happen. Unfortunately, it's just how the world is.
Yeah.
It's just life.
When you think about it in this context, so let me put it to you like this. You know how lovely it is where at the end of the credits they have production babies?
Oh yeah, that is Pixar do that. Yeah, that is great.
And it's like, bloody hell.
Yeah.
There'll be like 30 babies.
Oh, actually, really strange that I know this, and I can't believe I know this. For the most production babies on a film was actually for Finding Dory.
Really?
Yeah. And it was close to 100.
See, that's how many lives entered the world.
Yeah.
Associated with that one production.
Of course.
And obviously there is going to be some kind of equivalent number of deaths associated with a certain production.
Of course.
Because of the amount of time it takes and the amount of people from different families, from whatever, that are involved. And regarding The Exorcist, you know, and injuries, I mean, you think about the kind of methods they were using and the actors doing their own kind of stunts with the bed, you know, throwing Reagan around. Obviously, the mum gets, you know, she famously gets pulled and she genuinely hurts her back.
Still to this day, it hurts her.
You know, the actress suffered a lifelong injury.
Yeah.
And, you know...
and
and the pain, the scream of pain is genuine. You know, so it's it makes sense. You know, it's not even just coincidence. It's just life.
Well, yes, exactly. But then you have some actual bizarre things.
Yes.
Like, for instance, there was a giant fire on the set of The Exorcist, where the only room that wasn't touched was Reagan's room. Every other set was burnt down.
Now that is weird.
Do you want me to actually explain that one?
Go on then.
Because they had to freeze the room.
Also, it was too cold.
Yeah. That's what I think. But
maybe, yeah, I mean...
there was a lot of electrics around there, so you never know.
Well, this is the thing. I think just because it was cold in there doesn't mean, like, the fire was like, no, we won't go in there.
Is that how fire talks?
That's what fire sounds like.
I don't want to do that.
No, I'm all right.
No, it's too cold.
It's a bit chilly.
I don't want to do that. No, put a scarf on, we might. But then you have the Italian premiere of The Exorcist at the Metropolitan Theatre in Rome, where basically a lightning strike hit the church nearby and destroyed the 400-year-old cross, which then fell to the ground in the centre of the piazza. It appears that the devil was indeed on set during the making of that film.
Sure.
But yeah.
It could be coincidence, or it could be the devil.
I'm always going to blame the devil, but don't tell him I said that.
I will.
Right, so the next one, The Omen. There are a lot of freaky things around The Omen.
Absolutely. Like,
for instance, the man who did the effects for the decapitation scene. This was like a year later.
Yeah.
After that scene was done, he got into a crash where his girlfriend was decapitated.
Oh wow!
I know.
Jeez.
There was another thing which trying to think what it is. It was the designer John Richardson, I think, was involved in a head-on collision, and that took the life of his assistant.
Jeez.
The road sign near to where he crashed was Omen with 2 M's. And it was 666 kilometres away.
Oh my goodness.
How weird is that?
That is a big coincidence.
Come on, that is a monster coincidence. There were planes that were struck by lightning. I think it was... the actor in that... why can I not remember? Gregory Peck. Of course, Gregory Peck.
Now that I do find very strange, the lightning strike.
Yeah, but there were
story.
2 planes that got struck by lightning.
Because how often does that happen?
You'd be surprised. Probably happens quite a fair bit.
Okay.
I mean, if you're flying through a lightning storm, chances are quite high.
But to ill effect, I mean.
Probably not that much. I mean, planes are quite sturdy. I mean, they're up in the sky, being
robust.
all sturdy.
Yeah.
You know? But then, so there was another thing. The hotel where Richard Donner was staying was bombed by the IRA.
Wow.
And that happened, and then a few days later, it's like they were like, "Oh, well, let's go out for dinner. Let's get over all this bad thing." As they were about to go into the restaurant where they were going to have dinner, they discovered a bomb there.
Oh my goodness!
Set by the IRA as well. So yeah, that sucks. You know, these things. I would say that a lot of shit happened during The Omen. I mean, the actress was. Can't remember her name. I really can't remember anybody's name today.
Yeah.
I thought I was a film expert. The mother in the film. Oh my god, it's just...
See, now you know what it's like to be me.
I know. I wanted to say Mia Farrow, but it wasn't Mia Farrow because she was in Rosemary's Baby. I don't know.
Well,
Actually,
the mother, anyway.
the Omen mum gave birth to the devil's son.
Yeah.
She was like refusing to do any stunts, and a lot of people were like, "No, I'm not gonna muck around here."
Fair enough.
You know, her car was attacked by baboons.
Yes.
So whilst they were doing in the Windsor Safari Park, was it Whipsnade?
I don't know.
Windsor.
Something beginning with a W.
A W, yeah. So, and also the person who was in charge of those baboons, it was after that he got ravaged by a tiger and he died.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, a lot of strange things happened.
I mean, when you kind of sum all of these incidents up together, it does feel a bit like, oh, well, something was not wanting this film to be made.
Exactly. But then that was just one film. Nothing was ever happened to The Omen 2 or The Omen 3, Omen 4, Awakening, because I think that's what it's called, or the remake.
Yeah.
Nothing bad happened to it.
Yeah.
Unlike Poltergeist.
Yes.
A film that we have recently reviewed.
Indeed.
Now, I'm going to crush a little rumour here.
Yes.
Because a lot of people say, oh, it's because they used real skeletons in the pool scene. Right? Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
But guess what? A lot of films have used real skeletons.
Yes, and this is beautifully summed up in the Shudder series.
Cursed films.
By the I can't remember if he's the set director or
No, he was special effects on.
Special effects.
Yeah, I can't remember his name though.
But he's on there as a talking head, and he basically very, very bluntly says, "I'm sorry to shatter your illusions, but you know, do you think that a low budget film is going to, you know, hire someone to cast a realistic model of a human skeleton? No, they're going to go to a medical supply warehouse and get a real one."
William Castle was doing it years before.
And exactly. And you know, it just makes sense. And if you think, you know, you go into a science classroom, they're going to have a human skeleton there.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's not that big of a deal. No. There are plenty going free.
Yeah, they really are.
I mean, the dead people aren't using them anymore, so.
No, they're not. Most of them from people who have donated their...
Exactly right.
Yeah, body to science and whatnot.
I'm going to dedicate... I'm going to leave my body to cinema.
I would. Though I'd rather you left your body to me, but that would be a bit weird, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would, yeah.
Necromancer, boots. Sorry, that's a young one's reference, which you have done to me in the past. But the Poltergeist series.
Yes.
So, released in 1982. On that film alone, there was 2 deaths. One of them was was Dominic Dunn, who played the elder daughter. She was murdered by her boyfriend at the age of 22.
Yeah.
They got into an argument and he strangled her and put her into a coma where she never came out of. Which is very, very, very sad. Also, one of the producers passed away whilst making that film as well. He was quite elderly though.
I mean, the Dominique Dunn case is really, really tragic. I mean, she was obviously very, very young, and famously her father Dominic Dunn, he was a journalist and he covered the trial of his daughter's murderer.
Yeah,
you know, he wrote about it.
Yeah, for Vanity Fair, I think it was.
That's right. Yeah, but yeah, really awful thing to happen.
But then also in Poltergeist 2, The Other Side, which is a bad film.
Yes.
I'll just say that. Unfortunately, I believe his name is Will Sampson, who played the Native American Taylor.
Yes.
He was also in the film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, threw a fridge through the window.
Yes.
And escaped.
Iconic.
Yeah. He actually died, I think it was a year after, during an operation and had kidney failure.
Wow.
Also, the person who played Kane,
Yes.
who was Julian Beck,
Yes.
died of stomach cancer as well.
Wow.
Now, this was just after the film was released. Then we come on to Poltergeist 3. Now, this is the last one in the trilogy, thank God.
Yeah.
Where